And this debate just absolutely epitomizes the left's ongoing effort to rewrite the English language in order to change the debate and destroy civil order. Cisgender is a made-up word. Cisgender that means nothing. Do not call me cisgender. I am a woman.
Jasmine Crockett tried to expand this argument, then Chip Roy reduced it to one singular line. Guys, what is true will always be true.
And now they want to be the protectors of girls and women. I didn't hear them screaming this when Renee Good was killed in the middle of the street in Minneapolis. I didn't hear any protection for Renee Good, a U.S. citizen that was killed by the same people that the vast majority of you just voted to give more money to. I didn't hear the same thing. In fact, it was a lot of crickets, specifically including the women, as we were just lectured about what we need to do as women when it came down to the Epstein files. I heard crickets. In fact, we could not get any signatures onto that discharge petition, to the extent that we shut down the entire House, and there was no business that was conducted in this entire country on behalf of our constituents. But let me be clear, the Republicans are going to protect girls and women, because that's what this is all about. It's not about the report, because the amendment says it's about a report. Like, miss me on being protectors. Just say that this is what you believe, this is what you're doing. But don't come at us and tell us as women what we should be okay with, what we shouldn't be okay with, because it's just kind of like the same thing where I should be telling a lot of women on the other side of the aisle, I don't know how it is that you are not protecting women as they need protections over their own bodies to make their own decisions.
Listen, multiple things have the ability to, in fact, be true. Period. Across the board here. You name the subject, multiple things can definitely be true here. When it comes down to the idea of protecting girls and women, I do suspect that it's probably children, all right, and women that actually still kind of embody the idea of femininity and womanhood. Let's just say this here. And I'm not talking about the ones who have one leg into femininity and the other one completely out of it here. I'm not talking about those, you get no protection. Guys, for the last thousands of years, I understand the idea of how we've gotten to the place of being women and children off the boat first type of scenario here. I definitely would say this right now. I don't think that should be looked at in the same lens, specifically in the West. Since the 70s, there has been a gigantic push to make sure that women are no longer the protected class. Let's just say this here. There are women in the United States of America, in fact, who definitely need some type of protections here, okay? But then there are some like Jasmine Crockett and women who exude energy similar to Jasmine Crockett who definitely, in fact, are falling on to the other side of the under no circumstance protect for no reason. Your chromosomes don't immediately mean that you need to be protected, okay? I would suspect that it's probably more so your temperament. Chromosomes by default do not mean that you should be part of the protected class, I would say, in 2026, specifically with what the left and the Democrat Party are basically pushing consistently, right? You can look at the party, mainly the Democrat Party, and realize immediately there's not a single bit of that energy that actually needs protecting.
The reality here is this is not about trying to give a middle finger to President Trump by opposing this. This is about giving a middle finger to the little girls out there, like my daughter, who want to be able to play sports and not play sports with a guy. That's it. This is not about, through the party of women, equality, and all this stuff. And look, you want to talk about abortion? We can have that debate. We have it round and around. We want to protect little girls who are not yet born. So we can have that debate all day long. But that's a debate we have had repeatedly. But what we're saying here is we want to ensure that our little girls can engage in athletic activity and not be competing against dudes. I would yield to the gentlelady from Wyoming if she wants that time.
You bet, because I'm just going to briefly speak on the amendment. The over-the-top rhetoric put forth in support of this amendment, I think, gives up the game. The fact is that all you need to do to determine sex is a cheek swab. If you're an XX or an XY, you're either a boy or a girl. It's that simple. This isn't complicated. It's not like we haven't known what women and men were for not just a matter of years, but decades and centuries and thousands of years before that. The fact that we're having this conversation and this debate just absolutely epitomizes the left's ongoing effort to rewrite the English language in order to change the debate and destroy civil order. Cisgender is a made-up word. Cisgender that means nothing. Do not call me cisgender. I am a woman. This gentleman sitting next to me, he is a man. That's who he is. That is what our title is. That is what we have been described throughout history. This bill does nothing to prohibit men from competing in men's sports. I will repeat, This bill does nothing to prohibit men from competing in men's sports. It does prohibit men from competing in women's sports. It is that simple. All we have to do is look at what happened during the Paris Olympics, where we watched a dude beat the hell out of a woman in a boxing match, and we have people on the other side of the aisle who actually believe that that is okay. That man is not a woman. He has been tested repeatedly. That is a man, and he will not be allowed to compete against women in the future because he is a man. We do not want men beating up women. We do not want men in women's soccer or volleyball or basketball or rugby or swimming or any other athletic competition. This isn't difficult. All you need to do for any kind of determination for sex is a cheek swab. The fact that you guys are talking about doing these inspections of people and the fact that the Boxing Association used to do that, that's sick. That is sick. This isn't complicated. And the fact that you're trying to make it complicated gives up the game. We want to protect women and girls. It's that simple. That's what this bill does. This amendment means nothing. It does nothing to protect women. It does nothing to protect women athletics.
Let's break this down, but under no circumstance am I going to allow the conversation to kind of go into the realm of like disingenuous or not being fully aware of the facts here. Okay. There are a group of people, okay, that exist, in fact, by nature, that have interesting chromosomes. Okay. These people, generally, historically have been called a couple of things here. But let's just go ahead and use let's say the better terminology, intersex. Okay. These people here specifically, they may want to live their life. Okay. And I don't see a problem with them existing within their who they are, right? I mean, generally, I think everyone has been raised here. You don't make fun of someone that was born differently, right? These people were born differently. Now, in terms of that boxer, I think that may have been one of those issues. Okay, so that's a super, super tricky thing, because what do you tell someone that was born a certain way, that has competed, right, for all of these things here? What they can do, right, or not do, right? I think that's kind of one of those issues here. But now be fully aware here. If you do the cheek swab and you find out that the majority of the actual chromosome imbalance, let's just say this here, falls under the common typical, stereotypically, let's say, masculine form, then I think you should probably have to fight with the dudes, bro. All right. Listen, I'm not going to disrespect you, right? Because that's just not who I am personally, right? But you're probably going to have to fight with the dudes. Okay. Like, I mean, I get it. You decided, or your family decided which way you were going to basically, for the most part, present to the public, when you were born, because you were born with, multiple things going on. Let's just say that there, right? And then your parents said they were going to raise you as a girl. Okay, I get it, right? Listen, you were born this way. I am not judging you under no circumstance. Not that. Forget that. Okay, I'm not doing it. It's different conversations for different, things that happen throughout people's lives. But that specific one, I don't make fun of people how they're born, bro. That's just something I will never do. I find it absolutely weird. Okay, so let's go back to the story here. You were born in a very interesting way. Your chromosomes are kind of all over the place. Okay. Your parents decide that they're going to basically raise you as a girl, but you also have, parts of your body that may almost immediately look like a guy, but you kind of also have parts of your body that kind of looks like a girl. So guys, there's a lot happening. Okay. What do you tell those people? Do they no longer deserve to kind of live a long and fruitful life if they decide to basically live within sports? I think that's my moral conundrum, right? Because it's like, yeah, I mean, you were raised as a girl, but like the majority of your chromosome is a dude, bro. Right? And so that means kind of by default, you're going to have a good amount of like man muscle twitch energy, if that makes any sense here. right? Your muscle fibers are going to be different. Your bone structure is going to be different, but yet your parents chose to raise you as a girl. And then the same thing, vice versa. Understand this here. I'm an equal opportunity here, but that has always been something that has always been like, what do those people want to, like, what do they do? Okay. Because again, I am never going to make fun of somebody for what they were born with, bro. That's not happening here. Right. That's not going to be a thing. But if you want to have the conversation again later, like you were born this way, but then you're trying to tell me that there's something else going on later on in your life. And I that's a different conversation for a different day, but that's not the same. I'm not going to look at it the same as the other one. That's not happening. I can't mentally, because it just doesn't make much sense. You are kind of what you are, right? Embody what you are, if that makes any sense. You can feel a certain way, sure, but just understand this is what you always are, because I don't think women can get prostate cancer, guys. So Jasmine Crockett is never going to move on from this. This is who she is. I don't really see much coming from her like that's actually valuable. She seems to say exactly what she thinks her base needs to say. Everything she just said was basically a talking point rather than like actual valuable speech here, bro. But guys, seriously, on a serious note here, let me know in the comments this seriously here. Do we create like a separate league for people that just so happen to have like extra chromosomes, right? Do we do that? First of all, there's a lot of them out there. You've probably encountered multiple like this month without you knowing, right? Understand that there. But what do? Do you create like a special league for them? I don't know, bro. I don't know. It's troubling. It's tricky. It's tricky. And they definitely should not even have to compete, let's say, against people that decided later on in life that they were going to try to change things up, guys. That's not the same neither, because that's just not the same. Like specifically, if you wait your whole life growing into your man body and then decided later that was going to be different, and then you then start to compete against women who never experienced that. Yeah, that's troubling, bro. That's super tricky. That's super tricky. But guys, seriously, this is a rough one here. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, all right? But either way, guys, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. And in the meantime, guys, I'll go ahead and catch you guys later.